Welcome back to another video here. In this video, we're going to be talking about Hurricane Laura as it's posing a major threat for Texas and Louisiana, as it's expected to possibly be a major hurricane before making landfall. Extreme storm surge, major flooding, dangerous winds, a lot more really life-threatening really storm surge. It's just going to be a crazy storm here, as this is now possibly can be a category 3, and then some also even show a category 4. So there's going to be a major update here on cone, the timing, everything here. Hurricane watch has now been extended now. That's what we're going to be talking about a lot in this video. So if you're in the path of this storm, I would recommend watching all the video and even thinking about possibly getting ready for the storm or even evacuating. Before we get the video, please subscribe if you're new, hit the like button, and hit the post notification icon. Without further ado, let's get this tropical forecast. So this is now our fourth hurricane of the year here. Laura is now brewing in the Yucatan Peninsula, heading straight for Louisiana and Texas here. That seems like Louisiana will obviously the worst impacts, though, the worst storm surge, worst flooding. So Louisiana, I think if you're in Louisiana, you definitely want to be on the lookout, even if you're far inland, because this could make landfall as a category 3, maybe even category 4, and that's going to bring major impacts still for portions of inland Louisiana. If you're in far eastern Texas as well, I would really watch out. But there we got Laura right here at 75 miles an hour at 991 millibars, and now moving west-northwest at 15 knots or 17 miles an hour. So this thing has rapidly really slowed down here. And that's a lot worse because the more it's slowing down, the better the chance it has to blow up here. Even the National Hurricane Center said a category 3 for landfall. And they are finally showing that. It's about time. I think a category 4 is not out of the picture. I think this could be a very big storm. People are underestimating this because they saw, oh, Marco, it died, blah, 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 blah. This isn't Marco. Actually, Marco made the conditions more favorable. So in this case, Laura will possibly be a major landfall here. Extreme and life-threatening storm surge, extreme winds. We'll be looking at all those factors in later in the video here. But let's go check out now what IR has and see how much the storm has organized, and is it starting to develop an eye? That's exactly what we'll be looking at in the next slide. So here's a look now at the IR here, long wave satellite imagery. As you see, this thing has a ton of convection here right in the center of the storm there. As you see, seeing some nice pinks, whites. Even we had some hot pinks pop up a bit earlier. So this is actually some big sign that this storm is really trying to get its act together. But it is a hurricane now. Has 75 miles an hour. I would even doubt this becomes a category 2 by the end of today here. Starting to get into the point where it's rapidly intensifying. I think this could definitely start to rapidly intensify in the next coming hours here. But really, I mean, the chance it's going to become a category 2 by the end of today, it's very likely. A lot of models even show that here. So I think there's definitely some concerns about this storm really blowing up. And I think there's if you're in the Louisiana coast near Lake Charles or anything, I would definitely evacuate in the next coming. I would give you a good 30 hours until it's kind of too late, because if you evacuate a little too late, there's going to be traffic, there's no gas, and then you can evacuate. So I would really chart, if you're going to evacuate, I would do it by the end of today, really, because this storm's brewing, and it could be a lot stronger than we think. Maybe it will be category 4, you know. Michael shocked all of us. Dorian shocked all of us. Irma shocked all of us. I mean, this is just a prime example of how, you know, storms can be completely different as forecasted. But you see, low pressure right there. Some nice counterclockwise banding here. As you see, this is looking pretty organized here. But let's go check out all the details on cone, timing, and etc. So here's looking now at the National Weather Service here, the National Hurricane Center. Latest cone here, I believe that's 8 a.m. cone. It will update at 11 a.m. though. But as you see, they predict a major hurricane. Finally, it's about time they show major hurricane. That beautiful, but not so beautiful, but kind of scary M. First time we've seen this M here ever in the Atlantic so far this season. But look at that wind field. That wind field's absolutely mental, really. I mean, it's about like 40% the size of Florida. It can go from Key West to all the way here. I mean, this wind field is absolutely mental. And imagine once it gets way bigger in the Gulf, imagine how big this tropical storm wind field will be. And imagine how impressive that hurricane wind field will be. But tropical storm warning still maintained for the far western Keys here of Florida. and also still maintain for a portion of western Cuba because the wind feels so big here. But as you see, they show it staying as a category 2, becoming a category 2 around Wednesday here. That's tomorrow. And then making landfall here possibly on Thursday as a major hurricane. As you see, hurricane watches have been extended now near Galveston and a lot more now into kind of getting towards more into southeastern coast of Louisiana. But major hurricane making landfall right on the border. But I do think that low pressure technically will be in Louisiana. I don't see it technically a Texas landfall. I see technically a Louisiana landfall, but most likely right on the border state line. And then tropical storm watches as far as the Morgan City area, as far as the far southeastern parish of Louisiana. So it's gonna be pretty some large and widespread effects, even 100 miles outside the cone. Storm surge, and this is scary. This storm surge is mental. I mean, this is life-threatening storm surge and deadly storm surge. From High Island to Morgan City, we could see 7 to 11 foot storm surge for Sabine Lake, Vermilion Bay. This is deadly storm surge. This could definitely well over cover a one-story house, and I know for sure there's a lot of one-story houses in this general vicinity here, and that could definitely top 11-foot storm surge. Could obviously extremely deadly. Storm surge is the main killer in tropical systems, and this is going to show you. This will show you how deadly this storm surge could be. 11 feet of water could cover your house depending on how tall it is. If it's one floor, easily going to cover your house possibly. If it's a trailer, going to easily cover your house. That's why I'm saying, if you know that you're in that area, 7 to 11 foot storm surge, and you have a trailer house or a one floor story, I would consider evacuating, because if you don't evacuate, time will be ticking. And I'm telling you, this storm surge will actually be higher than this. This could possibly be 11 to 14 storm surge. It could very well. Look at this. Even from Morgan City to the mouth of the Mississippi River, 4 to 6 foot storm surge, which could still be life threatening, because obviously not a ton of people go over 6 feet. Even if you're over 6 feet and you get caught in this water and you wait the storm out, there's going to be currents in these waters, and these waters could obviously can push you over underwater. That's why I'm saying, even if it's going over 5 foot storm surge or 6 foot storm surge, I would still consider evacuating or going up to a higher level. If you're 2 feet, a 2-story house, that's a lot better. But if you're at a 1-story house, I would still keep in mind evacuating. 3 to 5 foot storm surge as far as the mouth of the Mississippi River to Lake Borge, 2 portions of Mississippi. As far as Mississippi could see 3 to 5 foot storm surge. That's mental. That is partially, that could be deadly for some people, obviously, the shorter people. Obviously, keep in mind if you have kids or anything, obviously. But if you're on the way to Mississippi, I wouldn't evacuate. And I mean, it's up to you. I mean, it's really up to you. I mean, 3 to 5 foot storm surge still pretty impressive here, and that's really up to you at that point. But if you're like at a 4 to 6 foot storm surge, or even a 7 to 11 foot storm surge, I would consider possibly evacuating here. And then even 2 to 4 foot storm surge as far as Texas. So look how many storm surge we're gonna be seeing as far from Mississippi to Texas. But by far, the deadliest storm surge will be in Louisiana and the border with Texas. So 7 to 11 foot storm surge is easily could kill someone, and I hate to say that could easily kill someone. 7 to 11 foot storm surge. As you see, as far as Galveston to portions near the areas near Morgan City under hurricane watches, I would not rule out the possibility for hurricane warnings to be extended by today. I think by later this afternoon, hurricane warnings will be extended. And as you see, Houston, a lot of inland Texas, a lot of inland Louisiana, and as far as right here, we have tropical storm watches for portions of those areas in the yellow counties. And that's pretty widespread from the tip of the southeastern parish of Louisiana to super far inland in Texas there. And that's pretty impressive. I mean, this is going to be a big storm, and people are still underestimating it, which I don't know why. As you see, it could possibly make landfall in the next 48 hours. So time is ticking here. I would evacuate right now or by the end of today here. As you see, it's going to go through the kind of Louisiana border there, and then going to kind of go through the Mississippi River and Ohio River. So I think there's going to be big impact as far inland Kentucky, because the Ohio River and Mississippi River right here, these could easily easily overflow here, even with the tropical depression, depending on how heavy that rain is. But you see, gonna go back out to sea here, and then gonna become possibly another post-tropical threat here for portions of the northeastern coast here. So this could be named twice here. Could become a major hurricane landfall, then go out here, and then become post-tropical storm lower once again. Intensity guidance, as you see, look at this. Could become a category 2 by the next 24 hours. Like I'm saying, this could be a category 2 in my opinion. As early as the end of today. Look at all these models showing category 3 now. A ton of models. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I think 9 show category 3. And 2 get this to category 4. I'm not ruling out category 4 yet. Category 4 definitely isn't out of the picture. But as you see, when it makes landfall, it's going to rapidly fall apart and then become a tropical depression. But look, it's going to become named again once it goes back into the northeastern coast, the northeastern waters. It's going to become named again. So we can be seeing Laura twice. Obviously now, then weakens to a tropical depression over land near the Ohio River mid-Atlantic, then goes back out to sea near the northeastern coast heading toward Nova Scotia and becomes named again. Let's see the most likely arrival for tropical storm force winds. As you see, still seeing tropical storm force winds for areas near Havana and far western Cuba, which is why they're still under those tropical storm warnings. As you see, could expect these tropical storm force winds as early as Wednesday 8 p.m. So that's going to be a couple hours before a landfall here. And as you see, as far inland as Shreveport already had a 60 to 70% chance. Areas near the Texas and Louisiana border already had a 90-100% chance. So really, this is actually going to be a life-threatening storm if you're riding the path. As you see, we already have a 20% moderate risk for flooding already, and it's 48 hours out. That is some pretty impressive stuff here. But as you see, look at this here. Pretty impressive. Already a moderate as far inland as Little Rock. Like I said, even if you're in Arkansas, even if you're far inland Louisiana, you guys are not out of the picture here. You may not be getting the direct landfall, but you will be in the cone, and it could be a tropical storm when it makes landfall, maybe even category, or it could be a tropical storm when it gets far inland, maybe even a category 1, depending if it gets stronger than a category 3. But look at that, areas near Shreveport, much of western Louisiana, much of eastern Texas, southeastern Oklahoma, and much of Arkansas already under a 20 or moderate risk for flooding. I think this actually might extend a lot more, but I think we'll be seeing a high risk very soon right here. I think a high risk could be extended by the end of today. But let's go check out now. Look at the all the global models and hurricane models all in this hurricane. So as you see, GFS showed this being at 983 millibars in 6 hours. It's actually reasonable. This thing's at 991, but Recon found 986 not too long ago. So this could actually be 983 or even below or stronger by the next 6 hours. So this thing's definitely going to be rapidly intensifying very soon. I mean, this thing could start rapidly intensifying as early as today and going to carry on tomorrow. 971 millibars in the next 18 hours. 963 in 24 hours. It's now going to get as far as 949 millibars and making landfall right in the Texas and Louisiana border, and going to bring major flooding for Louisiana, Arkansas, as far inland as areas of Kentucky there, and then showing it possibly being post-tropical and forming at 997 millibars off the coast of New Jersey. Let's check out now 10-meter winds, shall we? So as you see, it's going to be really strong in the next 12 hours, possibly category 2. Like I'm saying, this could be a category 2 in the next coming hours or by the end of today. Look at that monster storm, by far the most impressive storm we will have so far today or this year. And look at that, just massive, extremely big impacts here from this soon to be major hurricane here. I mean, this would be our first major hurricane landfall out of possibly many to come this year. Let's say Icon. Icon shows this being at 989 the next 21 hours. And then possibly really rapidly intensifying to 956, 957, making landfall right over Galveston, Texas. I mean, that is definitely some rapid intensification there. That is extreme rapid intensification, making landfall at 957 storm for Galveston. As you see, there's so many models showing 957, all that. CMC on the other hand only shows 985. I mean, CMC, I have no idea what they're doing. European model. Oh wow, Europeans showing this being pretty impressive. Look at 988 millibars, 948, and then making landfall in the Texas and Louisiana border. Even Euro shows a 948 millibar storm. That is mental. Look at that, ladies and gentlemen. A 948 millibar storm. And that's what Euro is showing. That's what Euro is showing. This could easily possibly become a category 4. I mean, this could be a category 4. You see, H4 from that hurricane model shows this being at 975 millibars in the next 24 hours. I think that's pretty reasonable. Look at this, 943 and 942 millibars making landfall right on the western tip of Louisiana, right on the Texas border here. 10-meter winds are going to be mental, skyrocketing over 120, 110 knots here. I mean, that's mental. That's what, 120, 125 miles an hour? This is easily going to be category 3. I mean, category 4 is not out of the picture. Check out now the 850 millibar or 850 meter high, winds. Look at that. Mental. Absolutely mental. This is going to bring 160 knots in the higher atmosphere at 942 millibars. This is absolutely going to be mental here. And this is, guys, going to be a crazy, crazy storm. So, guys, I hope you guys did enjoy that forecast here on Hurricane Laura. Still now heading straight for the U.S. as of now. I will possibly, hopefully, have another upload later this afternoon or evening, depending on my schedule. But bye, guys.